Today, we're going to be talking about 3 Don Bluth classics with this Steven Spielberg Presents on the cover as well. We have An American Tail, Balto, and The Land Before Time. I had these 2 films on tape. I had a bunch of the sequels of these on tape. I think I had 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 on tape. I never had 4. And I used to watch them all the time. I didn't have Balto, but I did have Balto 2 on tape. And, of course, I had American Tail and American Tail 5 Goes West on tape. And I remember watching 5 Goes West far more than the first one, because I thought the first one was just very sad. And, I didn't like to be sad. But, rewatching these, I can say that these are obviously the best ones of any respective series that they're in. Balto 2 is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. But Balto 1 is the superior version. Balto 2 is just a decent story. It's just not needed. It's just a fun, decent story. Land Before Time is an interesting enigma. I think there's like 14 of these films now. They just continued making them for some reason. The first one is not a musical. All of the sequels are musicals. I don't care for the songs anymore. I don't care for them. There's one song, I think at 5, that's still stuck in my head after all these years later, but it's not in the good way stuck in my head. It's the type of stuck in my head that's like, oh my god, will you please get out of my head? Please get out of my head! It's that type of earworm, the not wanted earworm type of song. And I could still remember that beat. I could still remember like 1 or 2 lines from that song, and it just, whenever I think about this franchise, I remember it again, and I hate it. I hate it. I'm not a big fan of these childhood musicals. Some of them are pretty fun. A lot of the Disney ones, they're pretty fun. I liked the Aladdin one. I loved the Aladdin one. Little Mermaid's okay. It's okay. Hercules is great. Hercules is fantastic. I can't really think of any of the others that I actually really liked. Just Aladdin and Little Mermaid had some decent pops in there. Mainly Aladdin, mainly because of Robin Williams. You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me, and Under the Sea. Those are great. But there's not too many others. And Tarzan wasn't really a musical per se. There were a lot of montage moments. Nobody was singing, though. There's just, what's his face, Who Can Hear It Coming, and then Phil Collins. There's just a bunch of Phil Collins songs. Good Phil Collins songs. There's another one that I could think of. The Road to El Dorado. I don't think that was... no, I think that was DreamWorks. But that wasn't a musical per se. But there was a lot of montage moments where a song would play. And that one was by Elton John. In the early 2000s or 90s, there's a period of Elton John movies songs that I really enjoyed. I didn't really care for the Rocket Man era, 70s era Elton John. I didn't really care for that, and I didn't really care for a lot of the remix stuff that they're making nowadays with him. But there was a period of Elton John music, I want to say, in like the 80s to 90s to early 2000s. This type of soft rock with a lot more piano emphasis and less rockety, jumpity. That type of period that was really good. I don't exactly know the type of music that plays in this era of music making, that's genre, but I miss it. I really do. For example, in the movie Anastasia, at the end credits theme, it's like they made a genre of music that solely exists to be placed in the end credits of movies, and they just feel like they belong in a movie, even though they're just very good songs. It's just, I don't know what happened to that era of music. Like, it's in all 3 of these as well. Like, they made a Somewhere Out There subversion song that was sung between Fievel and his sister in the American Tail. And then at the end of the film, during the end credits, there's an actual movie-tized version of Somewhere Out There that's very, very good, very fantastic. There's another one at the end credits of Land Before Time, which I really liked, and then there's one in Balto that I really liked. It's just this like movie genre. I don't really know what to call it. Pop, but no pop. Well, maybe pop. There's like pop has a different understanding of what it is depending upon what era. I think Hall & Oates used to be called pop back in the 80s, and I always call that like soft rock or something, but pop is just whatever. It might just be pop, I don't care. But Elton John had good music in El Dorado. It was very good. But the type of musicals that were playing in the sequels to this, no, I'm sorry. I didn't really care for the Land Before Time musical sequels. I like the stories, I do. I do remember a lot of the stories. Chomper's a great character. I liked seeing Chomper come back, and then the other one, I think, was like Big Water, I think. But they're good stories. I really enjoyed Uncle Toronto in the 7th one, the Cold Firestone or whatever. I love the names that these characters gave off, and they started with the first movie like all these characters would call an earthquake an earth shake, and I just loved that. I just love that the realness of these characters feeling like they're actually just a bunch of kids trying to get back to their families, and they've been separated. It's a very good story. It's a very sad story, especially with Littlefoot. This is probably the saddest childhood movie moment I've ever seen in a movie I can remember having a memory of. Like, I believe this was the first film I actually have memories of actually watching. The first Land Before Time. I have this on tape. And I believe it's the first memory of a film I remember watching. And it was very, very, very sad. It was very sad. I remember a mini-me hugging his mother because Littlefoot lost his mother. It was a very sad moment, It was a very sad moment, but it's a very powerful movie all the same, is that they don't skimp away from telling you difficult stories in these types of movies. Like, all three of these talk about difficult subject matters, on top of having a bunch of comedic moments and all of that stuff that a kid's movie would do. They told some serious stuff here that I really appreciated. And I probably appreciate even more watching them again today. Like Balto being very kind to this child. She gets sick. And so, because he wants to help her out, just out of the goodness of his heart, as well as being sweet Aunt Jenna there, the dog Jenna there, Balto Jenna there, an item. And so he goes off on a big adventure to get some medicine from shipped into Anchorage or whatever. And he goes to grab that and rides it through a dog sled through a blizzard to get it back to this remote town so that she can get some medicine and get better. It's a very sad moment too. Like, you can hear in one passing line at the earlier parts of the film that there's a red light that is lit at the post office to indicate that there is hope for the kids who are all getting sick with this illness that's going around this small town. And so long as this red light is on, it means there's hope for the kids. And near the end of the movie, the postman turns off that red light. And when that red light turns off, you get the idea that all these... And then there's some shots where there's a coffin maker guy. He's a carpenter dude. He's making a bunch of coffins. He's got a bunch of adult-sized coffins. And then the screen pans over to the side, and you see piles of child-sized coffins. They don't even need to tell you anything. They just need to show you that. And that really hits you really hard. A kid me didn't understand a single thing. Kid me didn't understand a single thing about those child-sized coffins. I didn't know what they were, whatever. I just liked the goose. Oh man, he's a great character. Love that guy. I still love him today. He's very funny the way he talks. His accent's over the top. It's just very funny. He's just a very funny character. But watching that today really emphasizes things, it really hits home in a way that it didn't hit me as a kid. Like, these movies are great family pictures. And that's something that I think is lost on a lot of kids' movies made today, made the recent couple of decades. There's something lost in the idea of what a family picture really means. It's like when you watch the first Toy Story movie, and there's a lot of lines that are said that kids wouldn't understand. But the parents who are watching the movie with the kid, they understand it perfectly fine. They might even chuckle at the joke because it's an adult snide humor. Like when Woody says to Buzz, "The things I want to say to you, I can't say because there's preschool toys present." You know, that type of just throwaway line. The kids don't understand anything what that means. They don't understand anything what that means. The parents, they get it. They get it. And so there's a lot of themes here that adults can look at and appreciate just as well as kids can appreciate and say, "Ha ha, funny goose man," and all that funny stuff, you know. And there's some really tough material, especially in American Tail. Man, American Tail is puts you through the ringer. It really does. There's a lot of near misses. Five-O gets separated from his family while they're moving to America to escape the cats where they used to live. It's symbolism. It's a symbolism about immigration and immigrating to America to try to find a new start, a new life, a new hope. And you open the film with lots of hope. They're singing "There Are No Cats in America," which is symbolizing there's no hardship in America. There's just dreams and ways to make life better for yourselves and your family and all that stuff. And it's a lot of hope. A lot of these guys have hope when they come to America. And then they get separated in the storm. Five-O gets separated from his family, and his family think that he's dead. And so they just say that they don't that he's not part of it. He's gone. And so he survives, of course. Obviously, we see that he survives, and he gets to America, and he's in New York City with his family, but they're in different parts of New York City, and there are so many near misses. There are so many near misses. Like Five-O's on one side, on the second floor of a building, and his family's on the first floor, on the ground floor of a building, in the marketplace, and he's like on top on a bridge talking with his friend, and it's so many near misses. It's like, Five-O, look down. There they are. Look down. But no, just so many near misses. It really frustrates you. It can be really frustrating to watch this movie and see all those near misses. But it really hits you. There's a song like that song somewhere out there. It tugs at the heartstrings. It's a song that I remember to this day. It is really good. There are a lot of these songs in here. This one's the musical. These two are not. The sequels to this one are musicals, but these two, the first one is not. So when you watch this, you do have some musicals, like the "No Cats in America" song, we're a duo or whatever with Tiger and Five-O. That's a out of place one. Tiger kind of feels out of place in this movie, but it's okay. Yeah, I like Tiger. There's a couple other ones, like with the immigration owl man or whatever. He's French, and he sings a song about America being a great place and all that great stuff. And he helps him get to his... It's really... A lot of the songs are fine. They're fine. And the animation is really good. I love the Don Bluth style of animation, especially in American Tail and The Land Before Time. The Balto kind of looks like it has a cheaper animation about it compared to these two, or maybe it's just a newer way of animation that I kind of just didn't really get behind as well as I saw in these two movies. These two movies just had better animation quality to me. They just had a better feel for me. Balto is just a very good story that I could just remember off the top of my head. Also, Professor Sprout from the Harry Potter movies is in this one as the grandma, and there's a live action segment in the start of Balto before it gets to animated, and the live action grandma is Professor Sprout. I just want to point that out there. If you're a Harry Potter movie fan, I watched those movies growing up. I think I was like 1 or 2 years younger than what's his face, the Harry Potter cast, Daniel Radcliffe. There, I got there. I just had to get there. I got there. I was just a couple years behind, but I grew up with those films. I grew up with the characters. That's probably why those movies stuck with me more. But I remember Professor Sprout like the back of my hand, and when I rewatched this, I didn't see the grandma I saw Professor Sprout. Even though I saw this movie before Harry Potter, I remember Professor Sprout more than Harry Potter. So this is something I wanted to point out. Whatever. These are very classic movies. They really are. I didn't think that I would have enough to talk about to make 3 separate videos about this, unless I maybe made a 5 to 6 minute video each. But you know what? Why not just make a 16-minute video combining all 3 into one? It's fun. They're very good movies. They really are. Especially if you watch them as a kid. I don't know if they're going to have that strong of an impact on you if you've watched them for the first time as an adult. Maybe if you watch them with your kids, that'll be fine. Balto's a very good story, very, 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 very loosely based on a true story. Very loosely, almost not at all, really. But it's based. The way they say it's based off a true story is because Balto is a dog that exists, and he did go on a dog sled mission, and that's about it. Everything else is very fictionalized, because the talking goose, we can't tell anybody about that. If we told anybody about that being based off a true story, that the talking goose existed, it would ruin everything. And the polar bears who can't swim, we can't tell people that was true. We just had to say the Balto part's the true part. Everything else, it has to be a lie, because we can't tell anybody the truth about the talking goose. So, that's that. That's the 3 films here. American Tail is a very, very... It's something that you can appreciate probably more as an adult than you would as a kid. I think a kid would probably like 5 Goes West a lot more than the first American Tail. That's just me. That's what I liked more. I liked the 5 Goes West more than the first one, probably because I thought the first one was very sad. But, this one's a very good one. I never had Balto on tape. I had the sequel on tape, but the first one I would watch a bunch of times whenever it was on cable. They showed this one a bunch of times on cable, and I watched that, but I don't have as fond memories of it as I did these 2 films, which I did have on tape. So watching this was just more refreshing, because I did have the sequel, and I watched Balto 2 a bunch of times. Watching Balto 1, I think I like that one more than Balto 2, even though I remember Balto 2 a lot more, because I watched that on tape a bunch of times. This one's a better story, and also it has Jim Cummings as the evil dude, and he's awesome. Awesome voice actor. He's just amazing, up there with Frank Welker. But yeah, that's all I got. That's it. I'd say you can watch all 3 of these today. I don't know if you're gonna get out of them what I got out of them, but you might get something different out of them. You might even like them even more than I did. Who knows? I'd definitely give it a shot, though.